Anime Death Spiral, yet again, the only anime podcast still recorded exclusively on wax cylinders.
You wouldn't believe the overhead costs on getting those materials.
We have to custom make them every time. People do not make those anymore.
We have to get permission from the Edison Museum. He still has copyright on that specific design.
I always just use the spare wax from my my creepy basement.
Your tourist trap basement.
Yeah, you know the one with all the like blood on the walls, the weird demonic symbols I've spread around in there. People always assume that's like a summoning circle, but I just like the vibe.
No, it's real chill, once you get used to it. Like, I love it. Very relaxing.
The kids I'm leading down there all the time, like, they're actually really into it. There's a trend where we try to kind of like baby kids these days. You can't show them scary movies. I literally heard somebody say that like Fantasia is too scary for children.
What?
Fantasia is not too scary for children, you guys. Fantasia rules.
Fantasia is good.
Fantasia is good. It's probably my favorite musical anime.
Is it the Night on Bald Mountain segment? Is that what they're referring to? Like, what else is scary?
No, the Mickey Mouse broom segment has a very it has an edge to it.
Well, because he's kind of like a huge fuck up in that segment. Like, that's the whole point.
He's a huge fuck up. I think people are also very scared of like messing up at work. That's like a big anxiety for people.
You're saying it invokes millennial anxiety?
It totally does. It totally does. You're like, oh man, I fucked up so bad
I'm
today.
so unqualified to be here. I messed everything up. My boss is literally a wizard that's going to kill me.
Oh, he's going to turn me into one of these brooms when he sees this shit go down. Oh man. Oh, that sucks.
Wow.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse, no Jay Baruchel. He really got it under control very quickly.
Yeah, it's hard to remember that was supposed to be an actual adaptation of that general idea. I don't see how. Did they do a broom thing? I never saw it.
Yeah, they do. That's the one connective tissue really in that movie is they do the entire sequence.
Yeah, it sucks. I hate that.
I think what happens is he's cleaning up because the girl he likes is coming over. And so he does the thing so that he can get his dick wet.
Listen, we are canonically pro Nicolas Cage on this podcast. That is unquestionable. Oh, yes. It is a fact of life. Nicolas Cage is a good quality to have in any film. He did not save The Magician's Apprentice.
He was the best part in it. Like, I assume he's probably the best part in Renfield, though I'm never going to watch that movie.
Oh, he is absolutely... Oh, dude, you got to see Renfield. Like, for real. It is wild.
I don't know, man.
Nicolas Cage is absolutely the best part.
Obviously, I love Cage. Like you said, big Cage defenders. Like, unironically, absolutely dead serious Cage defenders. And I like Nicholas Hoult. I think Hoult is cool, too. But, man, that movie looks like dog shit, man.
I'm going to be honest. I saw it. I was not thrilled on pretty much any scene that didn't have Cage in it.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. But, the best thing, and if you're not going to say, I'm just going to say it, Nicolas Cage, like, he goes all in on the character. He's playing Dracula, right?
Yeah.
And he's wearing these very big, very obstructive to his speech, like, front denture fang pieces. And I'm sure that they told him multiple times on set, Nick, you don't need to wear that. We're going to give you fangs digitally in post. And he said, no, I'm wearing the fangs or I'm not in the movie.
And he's correct.
Objectively correct. It was great.
Objectively correct.
Yeah.
Yet again, I mean, the man knows what he's talking about.
You cannot understand his speech when he's wearing them, though. It's impossible to understand what he's saying.
That works with the character, though. That's great. That's perfect for the character. Well, you've seen Vampires Kiss, right?
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a vampire.
It's one of the best vampire performances ever, and he's not even really a vampire in it, which is just beautiful. I really love that movie.
That is up for debate. I don't think that's definitive, really.
Okay, well, I'm not a fan of making super definitive readings of texts, but the angle where he is not a vampire is obviously a very fun one in that movie. His boiling over psychosis is hilarious and sad, but mostly hilarious.
And also evokes millennial fear of doing bad at your job.
It does, especially when he entombs himself in his couch, is like very much when I see like adults being like, it's a fortress day. We built a pillow fort, and that's like a mental health day. It's like, yeah, that's a vampire's kiss thing for sure. Yeah.
Oh man, Nicolas Cage would be great in, I don't know, an adaptation. If they did like a straight live action Castlevania adaptation, have him as Dracula, that perfect casting. What else? Vampire Hunter D. If we did like a National Treasure-esque Vampire Hunter D with old ass Nicolas Cage and a giant wide brim cowboy hat.
Has Nick ever been in an anime adaptation? That is a good question. We have covered him a lot recently, but now it's slipping my mind because he really brings the kind of energy you would want, right?
He voices a character in that CGI American Astro Boy movie they made several years ago, but that was not live action. That's the only thing that springs to mind off the top of my head.
I think that counts. I mean, that's close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
He would be great, though, because not a lot of, the problem with these adaptations, and, we've talked a lot about them at this point, but you don't get people who can act over the top, who really bring a huge amount of, like, chaotic energy to what is a cartoon character.
Well, it's, depending on which angle you're coming from, in the Japanese film adaptations of these anime, like, they're usually like jumping off points for models or other kind of media types that are looking to get into being like a media face, right?
Some of them.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like a J-pop to J anime adaptation going on, or maybe the other way around.
Yeah. There's a lot of Justin Timberlaking happening.
Yeah, in American adaptations, they're either corporate, cynical stuff, kind of like the Ghost in the Shell adaptation, where it's just like, all right, we're going to give these anime fucks exactly what they want, and we're going to have Scarlett Johansson play the soul of a Japanese girl put into Scarlett Johansson-looking body. Which is a take.
Man. God damn it. God damn it.
Or their passion projects like Battle Angel Alita, right?
Yes. Which, hey, that has a good cast. Frankly, I like that movie. I'm a big Alita defender. I like that one.
You would be, you sick freak.
It's good. Well, tying into that, they did announce the English voice cast for Boy and the Heron.
Oh, did they?
That is imminent. It's coming at us very quickly. Yeah, check this out. This is maybe a little controversial, but we've got Christian Bale's coming back to Miyazaki yet again. Dave Bautista.
What?
Who is just all over everything now.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against Dave Bautista. I think that he's not the best actor, but he's definitely up there for wrestlers turned actors for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really on the John Cena train. I think John Cena is actually a good actor. I enjoy his performances, and I think he knows what the job is,
Yeah. He's a straight worker. Yeah. Nothing against John Cena. He's a stand-up guy. He's out there doing his thing, and I respect that.
Yeah. You put him up against The Rock. Rock is the one everybody's, gone crazy for.
Rock is cynical at this point.
But he's not good.
He's not a good actor, and his media persona has long faded from being like the driving force for getting people into movie seats at this point, right? He
is exactly that guy that got all of the edges sanded off. I watched the Doom adaptation from 2003 or something like that.
If you want to talk about controversial opinions, I like that movie.
I like that movie.
I like that movie quite a bit.
And he's really weird in it because it's one of those early ones where he hadn't really kind of figured out what he was doing yet.
He also just didn't have the star power to kind of command what roles he wanted and how he wanted to be portrayed, right?
Yeah.
Once he got big enough, he actively was developing this kind of leading man goody two shoes persona, and that's really what did him in my opinion.
Yeah, see, he took the turn. He was a better villain in that movie than he would have been otherwise. But the funny thing about the Doom adaptation is I remember the first person like playing the game segment as being pretty short, but it's like 15 minutes long. It's like a huge segment of the movie.
Yeah, I would say it easily takes up like an eighth of the end of the movie.
And it's good. I think it holds up better than attempts at the same thing since then. I think it's pretty good.
So, it doesn't happen, I mean, for a lot of reasons anymore, mostly because nobody fucking goes to movies, because movies suck. But when they did the first person scene in theaters, like, that was those very memorable hype moments, like, in a movie for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is a very visceral, you know how they say everybody in the 60s remembers where they were when JFK got shot? I remember exactly what it felt like when they went into the first person view, seeing that for the first time in theaters, and how awesome it was. It made up for how stupid the rest of the movie is, honestly.
Yeah, there's only like 3 of those in our lifetimes. It was 9/11, the Doom first-person sequence, and Obama saying, "We got him." That's it. That's
I would have said Obama saying, "Let me be clear."
Let me be clear. Yeah, he said that every week for like 8 years, though. Check this out. The rest of the cast: Gemma Chan, Willem Dafoe, great Git.
Oh yeah, love it.
Karen Fukuhara, Mark Hamill, which Mark Hamill absolutely makes sense. We talked about him last time. He's an actual voice actor. So
he's an actual voice actor. Someone like Willem Dafoe has an actual voice that, like, he's just a good actor.
Yes, has been in an anime movie.
Yeah,
in the Death Note movie.
What I was saying earlier is, like, I like Dave Bautista just fine, but his voice and his line delivery doesn't exactly elicit what I would like look for, in a voice actor. I don't think that his style of acting lends itself to being a voice actor.
Well, check this out.
Which I also say about Christian Bale. I think he sucks. He was the worst voice. He was the worst voice performance in Howl's Moving Castle.
I think he might have been a little miscast there. I like Christian Bale. Well, check out these are the 2 that I raise my eyebrows, because it's Robert Pattinson and Florence Pugh as the last 2 picks. Oh, and Luca Padovan, who I don't really know very much. I didn't watch You, so I have no idea who that is, really. But I gotta say, Robert Pattinson, not really a good choice for voice acting. He's not much of a voice actor in anything he's ever done. He kind of mumbles his way through every role.
Hey, he did the Batman voice.
Yeah, which is a good movie if you don't have to have a lot of lines.
I mean, was The Batman a good movie? I don't think you think that.
I really think that's one of the worst movies ever made. I mean, just absolutely bloated and boring in every way. Batman gets his ass kicked on screen over and over again to just the absolute most deflationary ending you could possibly think of. The whole invoking the Zodiac Killer thing, too, is just so brainless on top of being tasteless. I really hate that movie. Funny to have 2 Batmans in this voice cast, though, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
2 Batmans and a Joker.
2 Batmans and a Joker. And all those people online that kept saying that Willem Dafoe would make a good Joker, too, huh?
I guess. I don't know if I see that. Mark Hamill is in that Fall of the House of Usher Netflix series.
I haven't gotten around to watching that yet. It's on my list. I've been watching the Netflix Goosebumps series that just came out.
Wow.
I know, right?
Well, that's probably more worth your time. I'm obviously on the record as a big Flanagan hater. Do not like Mikey Boy. Sorry, dude.
I don't agree with you there. I do like him. I think he's doing good work. Thumbs up, Mike. Keep doing it. You heard it here.
I think all his good work was in his first few movies, and ever since he's gotten more and more boring. But there are moments of brilliance in the Fall of the House of Usher. One of the brilliant things is casting Mark Hamill, because he is fantastic in this weird-ass, like, nefarious lawyer role that he has, and he's doing a crazy voice the whole time. He's really good. Mark Hamill is really good in it.
I've always liked Mark Hamill. I think that he's a great character actor.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
His mistake, or I guess George's mistake, was trying to make him a leading man, type in Star Wars.
Well, it definitely dogged his career for three decades.
That and the medical complications from the motorcycle crash.
Anyway, that's the Boy and the Heron casting news, hard-hitting anime news right up top. That's what you expect from this show.
And this one is definitely going to be Miyazaki's super-duper last movie, right? For sure.
He might just die with a pen in his hand.
God, I hope so. It's the only fitting end for him.
I mean, I really don't want him to die in general. I think he's one of the guys I think should live forever, but, you know, whatever. Everybody's got to go.
Keep on being a horrible dad.
Once your kid is like 40 years old, I think it's okay to be a bad dad. I think at that point you've done the job, and it's like the die is cast. You know what I mean?
All right.
Okay, so let's talk about anime. Enough of this rambling. I know it's all in the Halloween spirit, and you scared me by telling me that you watched. What is it called?
So I checked out the first couple episodes based entirely off the title because I had to see what was going on here.
You had to.
Yeah, I had to. Obviously, if you can't tell by this title I'm about to read, this is based off of a light novel, and this is I'm giving the noble woman I saved a crash course in being bad.
Not bad, Nate. Come on. It's not bad.
I've seen it. That's the light novel translation. The anime translation, they've gone with the word naughty instead of bad.
Yeah,
but it's honestly it's so much weirder than that. The basic premise is our main heroine is kind of like
the boy and the heroine.
Yeah. Hey, that's an idea.
Interesting. Sounds like a Green Day song.
Our main heroine is kind of like a minor daughter of a noble house who was engaged to some other minor prince, right? And due to social machinations, he decides that he wants to marry somebody else, and so he sets her up for a bunch of crimes and banishes her from the kingdom.
Wait, hold on. That's like Ray Liotta.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing some crossover here already.
Interesting. Okay, continue with your pervert shit.
So she gets chased into the forest, and wouldn't you know it, she happens upon the mansion of the great demon lord Alan.
Wait, what?
Yep. No, not making that up. His name's Alan.
Oh, yeah. Like one of the 5 elders, my name is Brian.
Yeah. And I'll just say this up front. He's not actually a demon. That's just kind of like something that everybody calls him.
Yeah, I think Demon Lord at this point in the cultural imaginary is just like boilerplate for the big bad guy.
Yeah, and which he is also not that either. He's just like...
Wow.
He's just an antisocial dude who's really, really good at magic.
But he doesn't raid villages and kidnap innocent young girls?
No, he like makes medicine and sells it to the local village.
Wow. False advertising.
But his thing is that he really doesn't like other people.
Sure. A misanthrope. A hermit, actually.
And, you know, he's not your standard hermit. He's a sexy hermit.
He's sexy?
Oh, yeah. He's got the blackjack, like, you know, black and white hair part going on.
Oh, you gotta love that.
He wears a cape. He's got boots. Gotta love boots.
Sure.
So anyway,
Why did Blackjack wear that cape? Anyway, no, go on. Wait, that's too big of a question. Yeah. Continue on.
So he happens upon her in the forest and is like, "Wow, you're like pathetic. You're just like a pathetic person. Do you need to come back to my house to like rest up or whatever?" And she's like, "Okay, yeah, that'd be great."
Now this seems to be running counter to the whole misanthrope aspect of his character.
So already abandoning the plot.
Yeah.
Well, they do address that. They specifically say in the second episode, they say that he's not just a misanthrope, he's a misanthrope, but he also can't refuse to help someone in need.
Wow.
He's a misanthrope with a heart of gold.
Wow.
Very complicated character.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. I think I get the picture.
So anyway, the joke, the gag of the series, if you will, is that he's like invited her back to his house and just decided like, wow, you're so pathetic. I need to teach you to stand up for yourself, like, more. which is really what the show means by the word naughty. It's really more like hedonistic and assertive is what he's going for.
Sure. It's funny that you say that because I did read a manga this week called I Want to Do Bad Things With You, which does imply certain things to us, the audience, but is actually more about standing up for yourself and being assertive.
It is exactly like that. It's exactly the same thing.
Right.
And that all sounds well and fine, maybe a bit of a weird situation for a meet cute, but it gets... Under the surface is incredibly dark because the way he proposes this whole situation is that he brings her back to his mansion. He's like, all right, hey, I just saved you. You're a wanted person. You can't go back to the kingdom, right?
Right.
So why don't you stay here and be my live-in maid and do all my chores for me?
He makes her do the chores?
Yeah.
So he's not a good guy.
No, he's actually kind of a horrible dick.
Wow.
And he gets her to agree to this by saying, he's like, all right, well, you don't want to do that. Probably because you're so nice and self-sacrificing. So here's what I'm going to do. I just put a death curse on myself, and if you don't agree, then I'm going to die and you're going to be responsible for my death, which is a major red flag.
That is one of the biggest red flags. I mean, that straight up is like, if you break up with me, I'll kill myself shit.
Yeah. So he says, like, yeah, if you don't be my live-in maid, then I'm going to kill myself, and it'll be your fault. And because she basically is a Cinderella type, right? She was married to someone or engaged to someone high above her actual status in the family, where she was treated more like, again, a live-in servant.
Right.
So he is basically rescuing a slave and then re-enslaving her for himself. He's stealing a slave.
Sure. Well, he found one on the roadside.
The one joke that really did get me is that when... everything is settled and she actually does start like cleaning and doing stuff around the house, she's like absolutely amazed at how little he asks of her compared to how shitty her life was at the castle.
Jesus Christ.
So he's taking in an abused, vulnerable person and love bombing her into being his live-in servant.
Wow. So this is pervert shit in a completely different way than what I was expecting.
Yeah. And so the main conceit from there is that he's trying to teach her to be, quote unquote, naughty, but really just like stick up for yourself and do what you want more. And so like the first naughty lesson, again, implying something much different than what actually happens, is he's like, all right, well, the first naughty thing that we're going to do is that we're going to eat dessert for dinner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are they 6 years old?
She is basically mentally.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So yeah.
Now I have to point out, this isn't a super uncommon trope in anime and manga where you find somebody and they become like your live-in maid or whatever. In fact, I have another manga I read recently where this happens, kind of on accident. But this is a premise so ridiculously stupid and banal that Seinfeld had an entire arc about this exact premise. Do you remember?
I like that you're referring to Seinfeld like story beats as arcs.
Yeah, do you remember the Seinfeld arc where Jerry and George write the pilot to their show Jerry?
Uh-huh.
And the idea is that the main character has hit somebody with their car, and the judge declares that the main character must be the victim's butler. This has been the biggest inspiration on anime and manga 2 decades later.
Hey, that's how it works in America.
Yeah.
You sue someone for damages, and if they can't pay, they have to be your butler.
Yeah, and you have to like put them up with room and board, though. That's kind of the bad part. If you don't have a spare bedroom, they have to sleep on your couch. We have such a fucked up system. We have to change the laws. We've got to change these laws. Anyway,
okay.
That's the Seinfeld connection.
Yeah. All right.
What the hell? Why did you watch more than one of these?
Again, it was one of those fall releases. They had 3 episodes up, and I just put it on in the background while I was doing other stuff. And yeah, I got through 2 of the 3 available episodes.
You just let it rip.
Yep. So, it's a recurring theme also in this. It seems that like he gives her choices where she can either do his preferred option, or he can go to some other extreme, right? You know, like he was saying, like, all right, I want you to order whatever clothes you want out of this catalog.
Right.
But if I sense that you're holding anything back, that you don't order everything that you want, then I'm going to order everything in the catalog, every item. And it's going to be your fault if I waste all my money.
So there are mail order catalogs in this world, like the Sears catalog?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. That was another thing I wanted to bring up, because it is ostensibly a high fantasy setting with wizards and potion makers and a king and royal court and all that.
Yes.
They don't have cars, they don't have guns, no electricity, but they do have like fully printed newspapers, like with funny sections.
Oh, cool. They have cartoons?
Yeah, and they have mail order catalogs, full service mail order catalogs.
Wow.
And private mail companies as well.
That's weird. You know, that's not to spoil One Piece, but this is a very strange thing in One Piece where you start off with sort of an old timesy, people are sailing around on pirate ships. But by the time we get to, pre-time skip, which is, a little before the midpoint of the series, there are full-on, like, live broadcast televisions and stuff. It's very strange.
Yeah, I always wonder, does the Navy have, like, full-on battleships in One Piece, or do they also just go on big galleons?
They call them battleships, but they are kind of splitting the difference. They are sort of armored, but at the same time, they are very much like big galleons. Mm-hmm. So it's weird. It's strange.
All right. Well, that was the trash that I decided to spend my time on this week.
Inexplicably.
I have no justification. I just did it. Deal with it now. Now, you have this growing list of stuff that you've been reading. It's become monolithic, oppressive to the show. Really, it hangs over our heads.
Yeah, the show itself is bowing under its weight.
I want to pick some stuff off of this, a couple things that you can go over, and so we can finally get them off the list. Is that all right?
Please. I have to get these things off my chest. Please.
Okay, why don't you tell me...
Unburden me.
Tell me about BX / what you've subtitled Boxers Are Hot.
Well, BX, obviously, boxers are hot. BX is by Okazaki Mari.
Okazaki Mari.
Okazaki Mari. Now, maybe rings a bell because Okazaki Mari also wrote Bathroom Guwa. It's a truly awful title. I really hope that sounds better in Japanese because, man, Bathroom Guwa is... god-awful.
Wow, I'm repulsed by it.
But Bathroom Guwa is a series of short stories by Okazaki Mari, and if you remember, I did a rave about them. I called them true art, a standout, an anomaly in the manga space because they are like actually truly interesting and artistic and just good. The kind of thing you like wouldn't be ashamed to lend out to somebody who doesn't read manga.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. And they have a really distinctive art style as well. It looks great. It looks interesting and singular. So
what is it about?
This is another short series. This is an actual like narrative story. It's very short. I believe there's only one volume, 4 chapters. But it's about a girl. She is not great at picking men.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah. She's having a let's say...
No, that sounds bad. That, I don't think it's her. I don't think that it's an issue on her. Maybe men just suck.
Definitely true. Men definitely suck. I'm obviously the biggest male feminist on the planet. I'm a big ally. Big misandrist over here. Hate men, those filthy pigs. But she's having a hard time on that side. And she's sort of been having a hard time in general until one day she walks into a boxing gym, I guess.
Okay. That kind of happens a lot, right?
You just wander into a boxing gym?
Yeah, you ever just walking around, you see a gym, you just walk into it?
Hey, what's that sound? It sounds like slapping meat. I better get in there and see what's up.
I mean, that thought, but unironically.
So she's having this hard time. She wanders into a boxing gym. She sees the hottest dude she has ever seen in her entire life. He's punching some people. Later on...
Now, is she attracted to him physically, or is she attracted to the violence?
Oh, both. Absolutely. Oh, the whole package.
Okay. All right.
So later on, she has an unfortunate, let's say, mental health crisis, and he helps her out. And she becomes very attached to him after that. She starts showing up at the gym, even though, like, he doesn't seem to be that interested in her, really. But she comes every day. She starts calling herself his girlfriend. She's kissing on him and shit. Unbidden, by the way. He's really caught off guard by that. She's just going for it.
He doesn't sound like he's into it.
He doesn't seem to be into anything. The reason he boxes seems to be one of those situations where he's like, I need to feel this to be alive. I need to feel something, anything, even if it's just getting punched in the face. He's that kind of guy.
Okay.
He's a little emo boy.
A real Fight Club over here.
Yes. And she becomes very, very attached to him. She's doing everything she can to get him to acknowledge her love. And they have this like interesting sort of emotional orbit around each other. And the story plays out over, 4 short chapters. And it's really weird and interesting. It's got some of the most inventive paneling. We've talked about paneling before, but sometimes manga can have sort of pretty boring paneling or less experimental paneling. This has something more of an artistic spark in that regard. So the pages are all laid out in very interesting ways. The art is fantastic. The paneling is fantastic. The pace of the story is fantastic. These characters are presented as archetypes, but without kind of showing its hand. We do get really interesting angles to all these people that are involved without having to dive into them and explore them. It has a real good economy of narrative. I find it really sweet and sad, and it's dealing with more real people than you usually get in a comic. I really liked it. I think it's great.
All right, cool.
Quick read. Worth it. Absolutely. BX.
All right, thumbs up.
Fucking kicks ass. Yeah. I think Mari... Shit. Okazaki Mari is great. Like, they're really great.
All right.
I just totally vibe with their whole thing.
All right, cross it off the list.
That's one down.
One down. Move it on. Why don't you tell me, and I'm really hoping that this is the actual title, Unicorns Aren't Horny? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That is the title, yes.
Because you understand that they literally have a horn, right?
I think that might be what they're playing at, Nate.
Oh, God, they got me with the wordplay.
I can't read Japanese, so I don't know if there's any connection to the original title, but this is called Unicorns Aren't Horny.
Now tell me, does this have anything to do with horse girls?
In a way. This Unicorns Aren't Horny by Ikuta Semi. Fuck. God damn it.
You're just making a fool of yourself.
I know. But I'm trying. I'm really trying. This is funny because we talked about the masterful cat and how the way that the cat infantilizes the girl.
You say infantile, he negs her. That cat is negging her.
Yeah, literally like manipulates her with food and drink, constantly monitors her intake.
Calls her a lazy piece of shit.
Yeah, calls her a lazy piece of shit. It's really bad. Gossips about her with her neighbors. Unicorns Aren't Horny is about a girl who always wanted to be in a relationship and explore love, but it just never really happened for her. And now she's in her mid-20s. She's rapidly approaching her 30s, and she's starting to feel anxiety about like never finding someone because there is that, what did you call them? Christmas cake?
Yeah, that's not my term. I didn't invent that.
You called them Christmas cake.
I was simply relaying information. I don't agree with it. I'm an ally, all right? I'm an ally.
What are you, an ally? Are you a feminist ally too? She has that anxiety about her life. She feels like if she hits 30 and she's single, it's really going to be some 40-year-old virgin type shit going on in her life. And she's very scared of that.
It's funny how, like, the male version of this story, if this were like a hikikomori dude,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have any issue, like, after he got over his problems at the end. He would still be like, all right, well, I'm 35, better go find a wife.
Well, sure. Yeah. You know, because men are built different.
Oh.
We're just built different. Sorry.
Okay, I'm taking. You're no longer an ally.
No, but I hate. They're pigs. I hate men. They're pigs. And this unicorn is a pig. So she has this anxiety, and it's starting to dominate her life because she really does. She really does want to find a relationship and fall in love. It's just not happening, and I'm not sure how this came to be. We don't really get any establishment here, but her roommate is a unicorn who is obsessed with her virginity. The unicorn is essentially boxing her in so that she never gets laid because the unicorn has a virginity fetish.
Yeah. And the unicorn again is a unicorn. It's a horse.
This is a big white horse with a magic horn that talks to her and lives in her apartment with her.
Okay, I see where the title comes from now.
Yes. The unicorn is very annoying and is a creep and makes constant weird remarks about maintaining her virginity, which she really does not like. But her fear of being alone overwhelms her annoyance at being called a virgin every single day.
Actually, no, I come around. I think that this premise has some things to say.
Yeah.
I think there's some meat here.
It is. I think it's weird. I didn't read a lot of it. I just started it, and I think it probably goes some more interesting places. So, don't judge me too hard if this gets really weird later on. But I really like her, and I really like the dynamic, even though the unicorn is really creepy. Like, his whole obsession with virginity, it is very explicitly like a fucking weird pervert shit.
Okay, so the unicorn sucks. Like, he's supposed to be a bad guy.
Yeah, I think so. And she is very quick to be like, hey, can you please stop being a fucking creep?
I mean, that's very un-unicorn-like behavior. I thought they were supposed to be nice. I thought they were supposed to be allies.
Well, he is nice. Sometimes, he does keep her company and tell her he loves her and all that. But it does boil down to him fetishizing her virginity because, as we know, the legends around unicorns are that they're incredibly violent, except for virginal maidens. They will come and approach calmly a virginal maiden and sleep on their lap.
No,
and that's how you
get
catch
it.
a unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody knows this.
I guess, that's kind of funny. As long as it's not mean-spirited towards her, I guess, I think is the only way you can do it. You don't want to be making this guy in the right.
I don't think it's mean-spirited towards her. I think her problems are treated lightly, but also sympathetically. She's mostly caught in between the two things where, like, she wants to be kept company because she's lonely. She's a lonely woman and, a working woman who doesn't have a relationship. And she wants to be kept company by someone who cares about her, obviously, who doesn't. But she also, wants to get laid. So, again,
nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. Very sympathetic. I think it's pretty funny. It's weird. Like I said, I don't know where it goes, so maybe it gets really creepy later on. I really hope she doesn't fuck the horse. It'd be very strange.
Yeah. I don't think that they're going to go there, I would hope.
I would hope not. But, it is manga, so you never know. But for the little bit I've read, I do like it. I think it's very funny. It has a really weird, funny angle on adulthood, especially for an adult woman, which we don't get a lot because, like we've made very clear, a lot of manga is obsessed with youth, and particularly female youth. So maybe the commentary is that, weird manga dudes are the unicorn.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would give them that imagery, but sure, why not?
Well, a sort of disassociated viewer who is obsessed with female virginity.
Yeah.
And
I see
purity.
the connection. I just don't agree with portraying anyone like that as elegant in any way.
As a big, strong horse.
Yeah. A big, strong, sexy horse.
I'm just saying, think about it, because there is. That's an angle. That is an angle.
All right, cross it off the list.
You could make a reading. Yeah.
All right, let's knock one more out before we go to the break.
All right.
I want you to tell me about Alien 9.
Oh, I have way too many things to say about Alien 9.
Okay, all right. You want to save that?
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking, when we talk about Alien 9, I'm gonna go in, because that shit blew my fucking mind.
Okay, all right. Good to know.
Yeah.
Then
we'll get back to Alien 9.
Well, I don't know. Do you have anything more you want to say about I Want to Do Bad Things with You, considering what we already talked about?
Sure. It's another one. It doesn't have that many chapters out. I've been liking it. It's very much a lighthearted rom-com. This is in the tall girl, small boy rom-com category.
I'm listening.
I've already said I like that shit. Now, what's interesting about this...
Speaking of Dangers of My Heart Season 2, that's going to start up soon.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I really genuinely love Dangers in My Heart, and I think Season 1 was really great. I think they did a really good job.
Anyway, go on.
This is sort of a mirror to Dangers in My Heart, because our protagonist, our viewpoint character, is the tall girl. And she's very awkward. She's kind of your typical sort of put upon, hating her high school experience kind of girl. Mm-hmm. She's the one that gets bullied. She's the one that has to do all the after school chores because the mean girls like bully her into doing it. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have the ability to assert herself in any way, right? She's that girl.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about. Until one day...
A Cinderella type, basically.
Sort of, yeah. It is just a normal girl with really intense social anxiety. And she can't really stand up for herself until one day a notorious kid at their school, who is known as the villain of the school for some reason, approaches her when she's doing pool duties. And he says, I don't want to fucking swim tomorrow, so drain the pool for me. And she's like, I can't fuck it. What? Are you kidding me? I can't do that. And he's like, yeah, you can. Why wouldn't you? Like, I'm telling you to do it right now. I don't want to swim tomorrow. Do you want to swim tomorrow? And she's like, not really. I don't like swimming. And he's like, great. We are in accord. Drain that fucking pool. And she just does it. She has one of those bursts of inspiration, and she drains the pool.
Wow.
And they both kind of like giggle and run off.
Is she stupid?
And she's a little stupid. But, it's lovable. It's adorable.
You're just going to do what anybody says? Is that any way to go through life?
But it's a liberatory moment for her, because she's doing something that's, again, quote unquote, bad, in a way that asserts her will onto the world around her, right? And she's never had a moment like that. I mean,
she only did it because he told her to, though.
Yes. And this is why they form a connection, because she begins to associate that feeling of freedom and that feeling of assertion with him. Now, he is a very small boy. Turns out he's been sickly for a lot of his life, which stunted his growth. So he walks around with a cane. He carries an umbrella a lot of the time because he can't really deal with sun exposure. So
he's got a wide-brimmed hat with a big feather in it.
He's sickly and pallid, and he has, because of our societal expectations of that kind of thing, people consider him the villain of the school, which says a lot about disability and archetypes
what are all these
that we
kids
deal with.
Like fan of what was it, M. Night Shyamalan, Unbreakable, Mr. Glass?
Yeah, kinda, yeah. So it turns out that his brother is the prince of the school, and they are in a rivalry, basically. So they despise him because he despises his brother. So he, now seeing a great opportunity for a henchman, he decides that he's going to take her under his wing and use her for his nefarious schemes to throw off his brother's princely behavior at school, and thus begins a courtship in a way, where she almost immediately like falls in love with this person, right? She's like way into him. She thinks he's fucking great.
Sure.
Cause he is free in a way that she's never experienced personally. He doesn't care what other people think about him, which is good because people fucking hate him and blame him for everything wrong at school.
Well, yeah, I can see there being the theme of in a social hierarchical society like Japan, being the heel, right, lets you basically it gives you permission to act outside of whatever role you were before, right?
Yeah. Act on your feelings.
Yeah, the villain acts on his feelings. He is the selfish one.
Yes.
Which, can be construed in an antisocial way, or like you're saying, it can be construed in a self-affirming way, right?
Yeah, and then this is obviously not the first story to broach this topic. We've seen endless amounts of stories at this point where the main character is like, I always related to the bad guy in video games, which I tend to roll my eyes at a little bit, but I get it. I get it, I can understand the feeling and what they're trying to portray. And she's sort of that character. Mm-hmm. So she's already a little primed to be into this dude. But seeing him, somebody who acts how he wants, even if it makes other people hate him, she finds intoxicating. She's like, I want to be with this dude all the time. I want to help him do his nefarious things because it makes me feel like more of an agent in my own life.
She likes that he's a bad boy.
So sort of, yeah. Even though he is not what we would consider the traditional bad boy, but I think she, this is me putting my meta reading on it. I think she maybe is confusing a lot of those liberatory feelings for romantic feelings because she kind of like immediately crosses those wires, and it's like I love this. I love this little man. This weird little pallid man.
So again, it's just a dick taking advantage of an emotionally vulnerable girl.
He does a little bit, but he's never coy about the way he feels. He's never manipulating her in a way that's directly an affront to her dignity as a person. At least in a way that we would feel alienated by as the audience, I think. But it is charming. And she does princess carry him a lot because he cannot really run or exert himself physically, which I think is also very charming.
I get it. I see what you like about this. No, I get it.
I think I
get it.
like it. I think it's cool.
Hey, you have to justify it to me, man. I get it.
Hey, look, we like what we like. Sometimes you see that expressed in narratives, and you find it charming. It's good. It has a good look to it. It's not, pushing any boundaries in the arts department, but it has a good look to it. I really like the characters. I think they put themselves in unique experiences, and I really like that he is a character who is not, how should I say it? In a lot of rom-coms that feature a character who quote-unquote speaks their mind, he's usually the like aloof, more classic bad boy. Like, sometimes I get in fights at school, but that's just because like I do what I want. He's not that guy because, like I said, he is small and sickly. Mm-hmm. And a lot of this is acting out because he wants to, on his end, assert his own humanity so that he is not seen as the sick boy, basically, and that's why he's constantly asserting himself, because he wants to be something other than the boy who missed a bunch of years of high school because he was in a hospital bed, right?
Sure.
Which I think is great. I think that's a really interesting character.
All right.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's good. Cutesy little rom-com.
Thumbs up then?
Yeah, absolutely thumbs up.
All right then. Shall we take a break?
Oh boy, yeah, let's take a break.
Oh my God, we're back again. Inexplicably, we keep coming back to record more of this show.
Just like Michael Myers, I am back yet again. No amount of no downloads will stop me.
All right, so we're gonna try something different here. We have in front of us a list of some of our favorite Halloween spook 'em up types.
Yeah. Now, have we even said it? This episode? It's Halloween spook 'em up season.
Yeah, no, we're in spooky season, full on, people. We're rapidly approaching ground zero for the spookpocalypse.
11 days to go.
You know, I just want to say I am of the philosophy that Halloween is not on the 31st. Halloween ends on the 31st.
You're one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can understand the impulse, but I'm more of a traditionalist in that sense. Maybe I guess I'm a Halloween formalist.
Conservative.
Yeah. What do you think about this Halloween season so far? I mean, we obviously look through the lens of movies and television because we're fucking loser ass dorks. But has it been a productive Halloween season so far, do you think?
What does that mean? Whoa, what is being produced?
Well, I'll tell you. We kicked off the month with the horrible Haunted Mansion Disney movie. That seemed like incredible trash. Fuck that.
I saw it. I did go to see it.
Ooh, no.
It was
no.
nothing. It was, it wasn't the worst that it could have been. I do like Lakeith Stanfield quite a bit. No matter the quality, I think he's just a fun guy to be around. So, no foul there. Everybody needs a paycheck.
He's my friend.
I took more offense to Jared Leto yet again getting paid to do stuff.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Instead of being in jail for being a weirdo, creepy pervert,
and a pseudo cult leader.
Yeah, that too. I think that
what
ties
the fuck? I'm firmly in the no more rides movies camp.
Yeah,
no more.
I just don't think that they're ever going to recapture the spirit of Pirates of the Caribbean.
No.
That was kind of a unique thing.
Lightning in a
bottle. Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, we started off pretty weak. Now we got, Pet Sematary Bloodlines. That's the prequel. That came out on the 6th. And that was not good. Real horrible revisionist Stephen King shit.
You got that Exorcist movie.
Yeah, VHS. The new VHS movie came out. I happen to like that a lot. I love VHS. I'm so glad they're turning it into an annual thing. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty solid. Yeah, The Exorcist came out.
New Hell House.
That's coming out. Mm-hmm. Dark Harvest came out. That was kind of a fun one.
That's an actual anime. Or wait, no, I'm thinking Dark Gathering.
Yeah, Dark Gathering. Dark Harvest is weird. It's a weird one. I kind of liked it though. It had the courage to be extraordinarily bleak, which I appreciate in a sort of kind of teeny bopper horror movie. After that, we've got The Puppet Man. That came out. That was pretty fun, even if it fell apart in the third act. That's sort of a It Follows clone, but in a fun way. Mm-hmm. We've got Five Nights at Freddy's is coming out. I know you're very excited about that one.
Got to get the youth vote in there.
Yeah. Like you said, Hell House, I'm very excited about that one. We've got a new Omen movie coming out for some reason.
Still doing those. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Where the Devil Roams, that seems like a pretty big project.
What you're saying is that this season, much like the rest of the year, it seems, there's been a bunch of horror movies that came out.
Yeah, there's been a bunch. A lot of bad ones. But a productive Halloween season.
How could we forget Saw X? Come on.
Is that coming out this month?
That's already out. That's in theaters right now.
Oh yeah, but I'm not paying for that.
Well, it'll be available for streaming Friday.
I'm not paying to see Saw 10. Sorry. love me some Saw. I'm not paying for that.
Sorry, Tobin.
You got my heart, but I'm not paying for that shit.
All right. Well, to lean into the Spooktober theme, we have here a list of some real bad dudes, some real fun guys. Well, what I would like to do is to go down this list, rapid fire, and see what you think, what type of anime or what genre would each of these characters best be adapted to. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, we have to kind of think about, because do we consider these Halloween horror royalty as the protagonists of their series?
Absolutely, yes. These are These are the protagonists. Although, if you have a good idea, I'm not open, or I am open to whatever format you want to go with. But
Sure,
let's start with
sure.
the framework that these would be the main characters of their respective series.
Okay, and we are in a period of anime where the kind of grim, dark edgelord subversion shit is popular again. So, good guy, bad guys are a thing again. So we can make that work for sure.
Yeah. So you ready?
Yeah. Do you want to switch off between these?
Yeah. Let's switch. Let's alternate. So
Okay.
I'll go first. What kind of anime would Jason be best in?
Jason, we're gonna take Jason back to his roots, right? We have to start as a kid, and he obviously is going to become sort of a shonen anti-hero.
Oh, can we give him like kind of like a Chunin disease kind of thing and make him like the kid in I Want to Do Bad Things with You that you were just talking about? Like that's kind of a good angle for him, right?
I think what we do is sort of the classic ugly duckling kind of thing. He obviously starts off at camp and he's getting bullied relentlessly, right? Just like in the movie. One day he falls into the lake and he's not supposed to be in the lake because he can't swim. He drowns and nobody helps him, just like in the movies. But what doesn't happen, or maybe in one of the movies does happen, but in this version, when he falls to the lake is sort of an ancient power font. Maybe it lays on a ley line or something like that, and it kind of communes with his body. So as he dissolves in the lake, he is slowly rebuilt over time into a magical boy. And when he reemerges, he comes back as a magical teen. He's not a full Jason. You don't want to. That's alienating for an anime audience. Is like a full-grown man.
Well, okay. No, what if we do more of like an Ultraman kind of thing, where he has a human form, where he's a little crippled boy, and he can turn into a giant hockey mask wearing man.
You're thinking of sort of a transformation.
Yes.
Like he summons his powers.
Yes, exactly. Maybe he has some kind of magic wristwatch or a pendant that he rubs.
Dude, he puts on the mask.
Yeah, he puts on the hockey mask. That's obvious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's got to be it.
Yeah.
This is straying a little close to Shazam in that way, but I'll take it.
Well, okay, just to be clear, in what I'm thinking of right now, he is Ultraman giant when he's Jason.
He's huge?
He's huge.
Wow, then who does he battle? Because I was thinking he would battle other people.
Well, he battles the camp counselors.
I got you. I fucking
Yeah, no, you got me. All right.
That one. You really stumped you with that one.
I don't have a clear answer for that.
Yeah. See, in my version, he kind of comes back and he has Jason powers, and the camp counselors are sort of running maybe kind of a secret skin market or something like that, something nefarious, where they're torturing more children. And of course he relates because he was tortured as a child. Mm-hmm. And so instead of this one, he's so focused on killing everybody, including the children. In this version, he's a ruthless killer, but we know as the audience, it's to save the children, right?
Okay.
And
all right.
We know that the camp counselors are evil, in fact. And as he moves his way up the chain of camp counselors, they are, of course, have power rankings. And in fact, the leader of the boss of the camp counselors is the psychic chick from 6 or 7. Anyway, the psychic girl. And she has TK and all that.
6,
yeah.
I think. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And
all
so
right.
we do the thing where he's stalking and he's killing them still, but we in a heroic way.
All right. Perfect. We got that unlocked.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Freddy, we've got Freddy next. What do you think about Freddy?
Oh, I think that's obvious. I think Freddy is a isekai death game.
Wow. And how do you kick that off? He dies in the same way or in a different way?
Okay, well actually, I've got to think this out. Now, in that version, I think Freddy is not the main character. He is the he's the game master, right? Mm-hmm, so we have a set of teens that have been isekai'd into Freddy's dreamland, which is slightly different in this version. It is more of like a kind of hell dimension where he is in control, right?
Sure. Very boilerplate death game stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to lean, and we get there by leaning more into the Dream Warriors kind of lore around it, right?
Okay, yeah, Dream Warriors is a great springboard for that.
Yeah, and so these teens get isekai'd into Freddy's dreamland, and from there it is more or less a boilerplate death game where each trap game trap is tailored to one specific character, and yeah, we do some Saw stuff. We do some evil traps. We do some betrayal games, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But at the core, Freddy is the evil game master, and that's kind of his involvement.
And we have a virtuous heroine who is untainted by the evil world around her, and through clear eyes, she discovers his secret, the boiler room, the secret level.
Where what's the main girl's name in the first Friday the 13th Freddy movie?
Freddy the 13th.
Was it Heather?
Hey Thor.
I don't know. Whatever.
It's Nancy, right?
Nancy, of course, Nancy. And so I think that maybe the secret to defeating him at the end is they discover Nancy's spirit trapped maybe at the core of the boiler room. I don't know. I'm running out of steam on that one, but it is a death game. That's for sure.
Sure. No, I like that angle. I think Freddy would make a great death game runner.
Yeah.
Especially because you remember he did that Crypt Keeper show for a little while?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be really in that style, in that vein.
I'm just imagining calling all the kids, beat you. Beat you this.
Beat you this. Freddy-san. Freddy-san.
Freddy Krueger des beat you.
Krueger-sama. Okay, all right. I like that one.
All right. Moving down the list here. What kind of anime is little Mikey Myers gonna be in?
Now we got to be careful. It is Michael Myers, not the Love Guru, not Shrek. We're talking about Michael Myers, the Shape.
Yeah, the Canadian serial killer.
Yeah. Have you watched So I Married an Axe Murderer?
Not in a long, long time.
Yeah, I was thinking about it recently. Anyway, Michael, I think, is tough because my first instinct for these is to make them the hero, maybe a tragically misunderstood hero. But I think Michael doesn't lend himself very well to that because he is so unknowable, right? He is an entity of darkness that is devoid of humanity. That's sort of his entire gimmick, right?
Oh man, I think I have a good idea, but you do yours, and then I want to get in there because I think this is too good to pass up for Michael.
Okay. Well, here's my knee-jerk reaction to a Michael anime. I think we start off with our virtuous teens, and like something we've talked about, the dichotomy of like kind of Western to Japanese horror being like serial killers and fantasy lands in the West, and more of like the urban legends and rumors thing in Japan. I think we lean into the urban legend thing where it's actually Michael's mask. When you put on Michael's mask, you are taken over and your flesh is consumed by Michael and you become Michael. So our main character, his best friend or his childhood friend or whatever, finds a Michael mask. And as a prank, he decides he's going to like scare his friends at school by putting it on and jumping out, one of those things.
Yeah.
But when he does it, he can't take it off. And then the next day he doesn't show up at school, right? And then after that, one of their other friends and his like entire family, quote unquote, disappears, thus kicking off the start of a mystery.
That's a Goosebumps story, The Haunted Mask.
Sure. Right. We'll use that as the base, right? But I think that's a good place to start because then we're rolling down this thing. We have our virtuous teens all working together. They start off as disparate kids who don't really know each other, but then like they're each related to a victim and they have to come together to solve the mystery of the mask. I think that's a killer fucking series, no pun intended.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that working.
Yeah.
Yeah, do kind of like a thriller angle to it.
Yeah, I sort of kind of a King's Game, but without the game part.
Yeah. Now, can I hit you with this idea that I had?
Hit it.
We go full pivot. It is a Beauty and the Beast style rom-com in the vein of Ancient Magus's Bride or like Girl from the Other Side. Where it is about a lonely, waifish, sickly girl who falls in love with a monolithic, silent Michael Myers serial killer.
Oh my god, and he's like a Shinigami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that good? Isn't that good?
That's good. Yeah, and she's afraid of him because he's like killing people, but then she realizes like, well, that's just his nature.
Yeah. It practically writes itself. It's gold.
Oh, I would read that in a second.
All right. Two good ideas there. Who's next?
This is a classic. This is Pumpkinhead, right? Now, I know Pumpkinhead didn't get a full franchise, even though Pumpkinhead absolutely deserved one. Pumpkinhead rules. One of the kings of the wet puppet, like, royalty, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure.
Love a Pumpkinhead.
Love a wet puppet.
Yes, absolutely.
Now this one is hard because there's not a lot of straight monster, like, anime. Like, there would be a monster movie, right? Like, there's very little horror anime overall. Like, to be fair,
more horror manga than anime for sure. Horror ends up kind of in the manga space. I think it doesn't get translated a lot.
You know, what initially comes to mind if we're doing the angle of like a revenge spirit that you summon to take action upon those who have grieved you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
We do this in the vein of the bullied Japanese introvert school kid. You know, the school shooter type.
Right. Okay. I think I see where you're going.
So, you know, we have a kid, he I don't know, maybe he comes from a broken family, his dad's shitty. He's
getting bullied at school all the time.
He gets bullied at school.
They're carving kodos into his desk.
Exactly. And suddenly he hears about an American urban legend, right, where you can summon an evil cursed spirit to come attack, and he thinks that like there's no way this is gonna work, but wouldn't it be great if it did?
Oh, and he lives in one of those kind of like semi-secluded villages where there's like not that many kids at the school because it's kind of rural.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
Maybe there's a haunted mountain like around the town that people aren't supposed to go to.
Maybe with like a shrine that has a desiccated corpse inside of it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Those big rope Shinto rope barriers crossing over it.
Yeah. Now, does he become a villain, or does he try to stop Pumpkinhead?
Well, I think
like Lance Henriksen does in the movie.
That's a good question. I think
it could go either way.
I think that he should be a villain, and I think he wields Pumpkinhead almost like Light wields the Death Note in the beginning. Maybe we could even lean into that, make it a real psychological horror thing where he is using the cover of a monster to commit these murders, like Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow.
Okay, yeah, I like that. And maybe he has a virtuous friend who is always stuck up for him, but is slowly coming to realize that his friend is like being twisted by this power that he's now had.
And his friend's grandfather is the local Shinto priest who knows how to exorcise the spirit.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a series. I think that's a series right there.
I'm into that right there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right.
I like that a lot. Now, you do have to do anime Lance Henriksen, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it will be offensive. There's no way around
it. He would look so fucked up. Oh my god.
Rip, man. Rip.
Yeah.
Wait, no. The other one died.
Oh shit. That's racist.
Lenny White, Carl Black.
Oh no, the sweat is rubbing it off your hands.
All right. Okay. We gotta keep moving
Let's skip a couple
through
of these. Let's skip a couple of these to Candyman. I think Candyman is very juicy for this.
All right. So tell me, what kind of anime would Candyman be?
Candyman is the closest to what we've been talking about in that dichotomy, because Candyman is very much an exploration of an urban legend and mystery, right? He's already primed for that. Candyman is exactly, he starts off as the Bloody Mary rumor, right? But he is very real. And it turns out that he's actually like the physical embodiment of a cursed place and time.
He is very real, and he is very sexy.
Yeah, he's got a dope-ass cape. Also, Crocodile, he's biting Candyman's whole shit. Sorry, you guys. Crocodile is literally just a Candyman ripoff.
Wait, I thought he had sand powers.
Yeah, Crocodile doesn't have bee powers, but his entire look is stolen directly from Candyman. I mean, we're talking about the big coat, we're talking about the hair, though obviously his hair's a little different. The hook, the sneering nature, it's all there. Anyway,
wasn't Candyman bald?
No, Candyman has short hair.
Okay, all right.
In the new one, you'll see when he turns into Candyman. It's
all right.
it's a whole thing.
So what do we do? What do we do with this?
So we don't have to do a lot of surgery on this one because it's already pretty much set up in a way that like a Japanese horror would be, right? We have some virtuous teens, and they're exploring local legends. Now, the twist here is because anime doesn't really deal with like a lot of, let's say, racial themes. Gotta shy away from that in anime.
Is that ever a good thing for anime to deal with?
If for good or ill, let's say. Candyman, in this instance, has to represent sort of an ancient evil, sort of, in the traditional sense, he is the representation of a revenge from a conservative, reactionary past.
Yeah.
What's used a lot in anime is like the sacrificing shrine maidens to the local god kind of thing. Mm-hmm. In that way, we can kind of have Candyman be merged with a local god.
Well, that's the classic Beauty and the Beast dichotomy, right?
Yeah, I would say Candyman is very much not a beast. He is more of a hypnotic presence, right?
He's a sexy beast.
His whole thing is that, yeah, he's kind of he beckons people into death. Again, sort of a Shinigami theme. Is like, but a little more malicious. So we have teens discovering this urban legend and trying to delve into it. And by delving into it, they exacerbate it. And by exacerbating it, it begins to harvest. It begins its dark harvest of the older people of the village, the people that covered up this sordid past.
Uh-huh.
This is well-worn territory, but I think it fits Candyman very easily. And then we have a battle of children, first of all, deciding whether it's even worth saving these people who, much like in Elm Street, fucked up pretty bad. Maybe kind of deserve like being punished, but that's up to us to decide, right? As the viewers,
yeah.
And they go on their quest. And I think in this case, they probably lose.
I mean, they probably deserved it.
Very dark ending.
Like, they probably deserved it.
They probably deserved it. I don't know what they did, but they probably deserved it.
Okay.
Let's see. What about why don't we do a Leatherface?
Oh man, you want me to do a Leatherface anime?
Yeah. Now the Japanese take on Leatherface was already done in Resi 7, so we've got kind of a base for that.
That's a video game though. That's different.
That's different. Freak Island
man.
also, I don't know if Freak Island ever got an anime, but the manga is very much, let's say, quote unquote, borrowing heavily from Texas Chainsaw. So there is that as well. Mm-hmm. But I want to hear what are you coming at with?
Oh man, this is tough. Cause like, what is Leatherface as a character, right? Like, at the core, he's a victim.
He's an abused child.
He's an abused child.
Yeah.
And so where do we go from here?
I think we can make him more sympathetic than you would see at a horror movie.
Now, this is really tough.
Can I give you a base, maybe?
Yeah, give me a base here. If you have an idea, if you have something brewing, step in, because this is a real stumper for me.
Right. Check this out. Okay, we start, we're going to cover a little bit of time here. Chronology is going to be put aside, but we have a kid. Again, this is set in the rural mountains or whatever.
It's just a good place to add atmosphere.
It's great for horror, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's our protagonist is a small child, and they're visiting. Now, I'm borrowing a little bit from some other manga I've read, but he's visiting his grandparents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who live off in there and they constantly tell him to don't wander off too far from the house. But he does one day, and he comes across another little child. And the little child is dressed in rags, basically. He looks kind of he's being abused, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he has something wrong with his face. And they kind of bond. He's a little earnest justice kid, right? A justice boy. And he bonds with the child. They play for, the month that he's there. He constantly meets up with this child in secret. Then he goes home. And we move chronologically into, let's say he's now a teenager, right? And he's going to visit his grandparents again. And he has these faint but pleasant memories of this child, and he's kind of secretly hoping maybe he'll meet the child again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're moving, right? Now we've got something.
Okay. Develop that a little, because while you were going over that, I came up with something that I actually is tickling my brain a little bit, but finish out this thought. Where are you going with this?
We would play it out like this, right? Him and his newly acquired friends are captured.
Mm-hmm.
The town is sort of they're I don't know. They're doing some kind of camping trip. It doesn't matter what they're doing, but they get away from the town, much like the kids in Texas Chainsaw, and they end up where they are not supposed to be. And this is where he meets his friend Leatherface again, but in a very, very different context. And now we have him struggling with these childhood memories and struggling with the new Leatherface to kind of turn him to his side and help him rescue his friends from the freak family.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. That's fundamentally keeping it kind of within the visceral horror kind of realm. It's
pretty close to the movie itself, obviously without the trying to be friends with Leatherface.
Now, hear me out, because this made me chuckle to myself. What if we go with more of a devil is a part-timer situation?
Okay.
We're doing a daily slice of life gag show where Leatherface is just trying to make his way in Tokyo being a tree trimmer with his chainsaw. But fundamentally, everybody is expecting him to either be violent or do a bad job because of his learning disability.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and you know what? Oh, it would be like a gag comic where he keeps getting fired from different jobs because he's using his chainsaw to do the job.
Yeah, that's a good angle. Yeah.
That's really good.
So that's where I would go with it.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that. He's serving coffee on the end of his chainsaw. He's trying to ring somebody up at the 7-Eleven with the chainsaw.
I imagine him coming home to his apartment after a long day at work and absent-mindedly cutting the door open instead of just opening it with the handle.
Yeah. He throws his leather face on the ground and sighs and drinks a big can of Asahi.
Yeah. Oh, that's good imagery there. I'm imagining him, walking up the stairs to his apartment, and he has takeout, in a plastic bag in one hand and the chainsaw in the other, and he's just tired, man.
Yeah.
He just wants to get home and take a shower.
He's got a little cat, and it also has a leather face.
Yeah. Really, I'm imagining him characterized basically like the walrus from Odd Taxi.
Oh, yeah, just a world-weary...
Just kind of a world-weary blue-collar dude who's trying to make his way.
Okay.
Maybe one episode he opens up a ramen cart.
I would be way into that. I would see
All
that
right.
as a great gag manga.
Good. Okay, let's do one more before we round it out here.
Okay, you pick.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. I was gonna say The Thing, but that's just Parasite already.
Yeah.
Like
Pretty much.
Parasite is just The Thing if it was an anime. So why don't you give me a Pennywise? Give me an It.
Wow. Okay, this is very interesting because this actually, I mean, we are getting into our Shonen King territory with this. So I've already got thoughts.
I mean,
this is
the
already
first
a lot.
thing as a springboard that comes to mind for me is something like The Promised Neverland, right?
That's an I would not have made that poll. Can you explain that?
I think fundamentally, if we're adapting it, if we're looking at themes, I think the through line of like kids kind of forming these strong friendships in the face of a monstrous adversity that, you know, basically is a horrifying representation of growing up, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious in it. I would say if we're stretching, we can apply that to The Promised Neverland, where, you know, spoilers, getting eaten by monsters is equivalent to the world taking your childhood.
Yeah, that's one read for sure.
Yeah.
See, my thing is like, it is so close already in its base form to a shonen that it's almost difficult to like veer off course with this, because it is essentially about children
Fighting a monster with the power
fighting
of
a
friendship.
great evil. Well, with the power of friendship, but also they each manifest their own power, like literally their own powers, as over the course of the book.
Okay, being good at like writing and being good at architecture are not superpowers.
They in the books they develop like actual shining level superpowers. They don't use them very well because it's Stephen King, but they do. So an anime version is very kind of straightforward here, right? Again, we are in a smaller town.
Okay, now
that hides
remember
its own secrets.
Remember the initial criteria we set out, though, is try and think of this where Pennywise is the protagonist.
Oh well, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've been kind of ignoring that, but we did kind of lay that out at the beginning.
Sure. Okay, Pennywise as the protagonist. This is difficult. So Pennywise is sort of a magical boy. He has to be, right? Because Pennywise is a creature from space that lands in a Japanese rural village and has to hide underground before he gets found out and, I don't know, dissected in a lab. Isn't that what people usually are afraid of? Pennywise grows.
What do you mean, you people?
In this version, we would have to do something like Pennywise is sort of a Phantom of the Opera phantom. He lives in the sewers. He lives underground. He moves under stealth, under cover of night, and he yearns to be a real boy, but can't quite manage it until one day he's sort of coaxed out of hiding by again a beautiful justice boy who's like, I will help you. I just want to be your friend. And he kind of comes out and he's met with adversity, right? I think what would happen is he kind of begins getting off on like showing off his powers, and he does it like a little bit too much, and he scares off some of Justice Kid's other friends, and they tattle. And now we've got like a town is tightening its noose around him, and him and Justice Boy have to like figure out a way to escape from the village as it closes in on destroying him. Now the problem being here is that we don't really have a good bad guy other than the villagers, which aren't really powerful enough to pose a threat. So I'm thinking perhaps part of Pennywise's power is stolen at some point. Perhaps when he's playing with the boys, part of his power, which you'll remember, his power is sort of it's stuck in the comet that lands underground. Perhaps when he's out for the first time not protecting his comet, playing with the boys, it is discovered by some nefarious adults, and they take part of it back home. And that power infects them, and they become evil, but also evil with powers.
Okay.
Now we've got a dichotomy going where he has to reclaim the parts of himself that were stolen and corrupted by the adults with the help of the boys. With the boys.
With the help of the boys.
Yeah, and by being around him, and he kind of allows them to absorb a little bit of his powers too, so that they have the ability to defend themselves against the encroaching evil. And now we have an interesting thing too emotionally, because Pennywise is very torn, because part of himself is what turns the adults evil. And now he's very conflicted. He's like, does that reflect who I am? I don't even know what I am. I just landed here and started growing. That's juicy.
That's juicy. That's a thick
juicy.
vein. That's a thick vein you just tapped into.
Yeah. And also he could have silver hair, like he's one of the silver hair Moonchild.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean,
yeah.
how do we fundamentally keep the clown appearance though?
He transforms. It's like his magical girl transformation.
Yeah, he transforms into Tim Curry.
Yes, dude. Yes. I think the new clown would be a better fit. I think the look is cleaner for an anime look. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
In fact, let me link you a picture. I think this really drives home what I'm picturing in my mind very succinctly.
See, I'm envisioning, all I can think of is like Kefka from Final Fantasy VI, right? Because that's like the only evil anime clown that's out there to reference.
I think there's more. I mean, we have a lot of evil clowns in the manga world because the Pierrot movement is so big. Baffling to me, but
they love their commedia dell'arte.
Yeah, and they love calling them Pierrots as if that is like a classification of a thing, which again is very funny to me.
I didn't realize that was like a trend because for a long time I only knew it from the one Cowboy Bebop episode.
The Pierrot.
Yeah,
there is. I'll share some Pierrot movement type shit with you. I think you'll be tickled. But here's a wild Pennywise.
Okay, sure.
From D. Gray Man.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I had more screenshots of him because he really is just an anime Pennywise.
All right. Well, there you have it, dear listener. Our takes on some Spooktober spooktacular anime.
I hope that really tantalizes your imagination. Maybe you can go out and build these stories for yourself.
Yeah.
And then send them to me.
Get out there on AO3.
Yeah.
Some ripe veins.
I want to see someone draw at least chapter 1 of some of these and send them to me. Please do that. That would be the best thing ever.
Specifically, if we're picking, if we can get one request, I want the Michael Myers Wayfish Girl romance one.
I would love any of these, just for the record. Bless me.
All right. Anything else we want to throw in here?
You have started the TikTok. I threatened you into doing it.
I've been browbeat. You see, Remy cast a death spell on himself and said that if I didn't start making the TikToks within 3 minutes, he was going to die and it would be my fault.
Exactly.
So I started him up.
I do this with everything, by the way. This is my go-to move.
It's true.
I've got my grimoire open to the page. It's all dog-eared.
I'm just going to say, basically all of our socials are tied to @AnimeDeathSpiral. Check them out.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can Google us, but maybe not. I don't know. I
am not asking you, much like the podcast itself, I'm not asking you to indulge personally, but if you could just like artificially boost our numbers, go and follow the accounts like on your friends' phones when they're not looking.
Yeah.
Download the podcast on just on random computers. Maybe go to the library and download the podcast on there. Please, I'm begging you.
I was about to say go to the display section at Best Buy, but they don't have those anymore.
I guess so. Yeah, retail is dying faster than our podcast. Please, I'm begging you, boost these numbers. I don't care what underhanded methods you use. I am asking you. Please do it.
If you're a longtime listener of this podcast, which I know there are at least a couple of you out there, we are talking directly to you. Go engage with us, please. You know who you are.
Before we sound even more pathetic than that is, beautiful and handsome listeners, I really appreciate you listening to this horrible, inane rambling. We're going to have one more episode before Halloween, so we got to do something else spooky in some way. Well, let's brainstorm that.
Yeah, we'll put some thought into that. Maybe we'll do a list review of some of the more classic horror-sided anime. I would love to talk about and revisit something like Paranoia Agent. It's been a while for me.
Oh, hell yeah. That would be a great one. Yeah. So, in conclusion, R.I.P. William Friedkin. I stand Friedkin. Greatest to ever do it. We'll watch Sorcerer and then watch The Exorcist.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a nickname. Come on. You think that's his real name?
Yes, his name is Captain James Hook.